Hope you're having a good day. I wanted to take my last video a step further, where we were talking about different ways that we could cue a turn or the first turn in a conversation with your kid, especially a young kid, an early language learner. So we were talking about different ways we could cue a turn, whether that's not verbal with facial expression and pointing, or if that's verbal with asking questions or making comments and having your child respond to you. So one thing that I wanted to bring up is a strategy that I find works really well with young kids, especially if you have a kid where you see that they're imitating you a lot, or just repeating back words that they're hearing. And the point I wanted to bring up is the difference in asking a lot of questions to cue the turn versus making comments. Now, of course, you're not just always going to do one or the other. A mixture of both is great. And I wanted to even suggest to focus more on making comments, especially if your kid is one of those that is imitating a lot. And the reason for this is because it really changes the demand that you're putting on the child. So if you are asking a question, that puts demand on the kid where now they need to respond. Versus a comment is more of an invitation for your child to then share their idea. So with a lot of these strategies I use with parents, I like to imagine how it feels as an adult to be spoken to both of those ways. So I want to take you on a little journey of imagining that you just got back from an amazing tropical vacation and you're telling your friend about it. And there's two ways that this conversation might go. Maybe your friend is asking a lot of questions. They want to know, where did you go? Who did you go with? What did you do there? What food did you eat? Did you do any activities? How did you fly there? Did you get any souvenirs? It's just call, response, call, response. And with these sorts of conversations where it's just question asking, it feels like maybe you are being grilled. And it might even be that the conversation doesn't really go that far because you didn't get into the depth. The person didn't relate it to their experience. So the conversation might not go that far. They might ask all their questions and then we're done. But on the other hand, if your friend is making comments where they're like, wow, I went someplace like that, and this is how this place is similar, and wow, I had that experience too, and I heard this, and then maybe ask a question. Now, these two conversations are going to feel really different participating in them. So keep that in mind when you're talking to your kid too. I find sometimes, especially if your kid is really into their play and I see mom is asking them a lot of questions and they're just tuning it out, they're not responding. So often this turns into mom asking the question a second time, a third time, and then it's like, oh, they're not listening to me. And that is really frustrating. I will admit it, it's frustrating. And think about why that might be. Maybe it is that your kid is just really interested in their play and they're like, I'm not trying to talk to you right now, or why are you asking me so many questions? Or sometimes if our kid's not asking or talking a lot, we want to know what they know, so we ask questions to figure that out. But also think maybe, is your kid really good with colors? And maybe they're like, Mom, why do you keep asking me what color this is every 10 minutes? I know that, and you know that, right? So think about that perspective when you're talking to your kid, and think about maybe asking both questions and comments, or a comment followed by a question. And you're going to be following your child's lead with this. So you're going to be making a comment like, oh, I see that you're building your blocks really tall, or oh, I see you have the red car. And then just wait and see if your kid takes that lead and gives you something back and takes the next turn in the conversation. Yeah, I find that this is a strategy that helps with a lot of kids and families to just change our questions into comments. So you could focus more on like I see comments or I feel comments to get yourself started. And sometimes this might feel a little uncomfortable when we start, especially if we're used to asking so many questions. It could be hard to change the way that we talk. But I wanted to have you keep in mind to see how your kid reacts to both of these strategies. Maybe if you ask them a question, are they only giving you one word back? They labeled something? Are they cueing you out? Versus maybe if you make a comment and then you wait, are they giving you more of a sentence to share their idea? Or another great way to do this is if your kid tells you something, make a comment that expands on their idea. So maybe you're outside on a walk and your kid's like, look, it's a spider. You could say back, it is a spider in a web. You made a comment, you added an extra idea to what they said, and now if they're really interested in that spider, they might say something else. Versus if they're like, oh, I see a spider, and you're like, what is the spider in? Maybe they don't know web, you know? So it just changes the expectation that you're putting on your kid. So as you're trying this, keep in mind that you are going to be following your kid's lead and talking about what they are interested in, focusing more on comments than on questions, and noticing how does your child respond to you. Maybe they respond better with questions, and this is something that it's not for your child or for you, but see, do they respond differently if I ask comments or make comments instead of ask questions? So that was the strategy that I wanted to share with you today. It's really helped for a lot of my families and has been really helpful in my practice. So I wanted to pass that on to you. So let me know if you have any comments or questions. You can send me a voice message in the messenger, or we could set up a time to talk too. So let me know. I hope this was helpful to you, and have a great day.